Hi, I'm Dr. Tabatha, the functional gynecologist. I'm a board-certified OBGYN and functional medicine physician. I've embraced the world of functional medicine and wellness through my own personal health journey, and I'm super excited to share my wisdom and unique perspective as it pertains to women's health. So if you're struggling with hormone imbalance, weight gain, period issues, anxiety, insomnia, you name it, then you've come to the right place. I want to be your functional gynecologist. So welcome. Hi friends, I'm so excited about this episode today because we are talking about something that is near and dear to my heart, finding your purpose and filling your life with joy and living your authentic true self. So I'm interviewing Sabriya Dobbins. Sabriya and I are in a mindshare group together that collaborates with other wellness and health experts, and I found her on there and I listened to her on another podcast, and I was just so excited to hear her talking about her journey of figuring out her purpose and living her deeper life. And now she's doing this with other women. So it's super inspiring to hear women talk about getting out of their unfulfilled lives and making the shift and the transition into their purpose. So Sabriya is a life discovery expert, and she's challenging the status quo of mental wellness. So I really want you to stay tuned for the whole episode today because you're going to get a ton out of listening to her talk about her virtual retreats that she puts on and what type of women are drawn to these retreats and what they do at the retreats and what you go away with. You go away with new tools and new skills for taking control of your life and reclaiming your joy. So it's really awesome. Sabriya graduated from North Carolina State University with a dual bachelor degree in social work and animal science. And she tells the story about how she had checked off all the boxes and she had a good job, she was making money, but she wasn't fulfilled. There was a void. So she created this Project Passport with the dream of providing a transformational, experiential mental well-being adventure that focused on more supporting the participants and improving their mental wellness rather than escaping their problems. She also wanted to create dynamic retreat spaces for people to challenge the status quo of mental wellness and to achieve personal wellness. With certification in areas like CBT, REBT, mindfulness, and life purpose coaching, she helps individuals reach their greater capacities and to push them to pursue their goals and aspirations through unconventional experiences. I love that. She says, we are the sole architects of our lives, and she believes, hence, it's our responsibility to design masterpieces that we believe in and that we have to live in, right? So I'm really excited about our conversation today because I feel a major connection to her. I just think she's got amazing positive energy. She's done all this deep work on herself and figured it out, and now she's sharing it with thousands of women in such a cool way. So originally her retreats were in person, and once COVID hit, she decided, you know what, I'm not going to throw in the towel. I'm going to figure this out, and we're going to do it virtually. So she actually has a virtual retreat coming up on August 8th, which is right around the corner. But it is free, and it's amazing because there are going to be a ton of health experts on there. It's called Around the World of Mental Health, a Virtual Escape. So please click on the link in my show notes and go get your free ticket and do the retreat. It's just one Saturday. I think it might be life-changing for you. And then also, as you're listening today, I want you to think of one little nugget, one golden nugget you can take from this episode and start incorporating to your life to make your best self come out. So that is my challenge for you today. And let's talk to Sabriya. Well, welcome, Sabriya, to the Functional Gynecologist podcast.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you because I think the work that you're doing is super important now more than ever, right?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Our world has changed very quickly. So I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, no one would have guessed that this was going to happen. So, you are this life discovery expert. You are helping women reclaim their passion and their joy and their happiness, right?
Yes, yes. I think that all of us have a right to joy, every single one of us. And even during a pandemic, we all have that right to joy. So helping everybody remember that and continue to regain control, even though we feel like we've lost control of our lives.
Amen. Like, what even got you down this path?
Man, I look back to my college career and I remember not being able to find a space that fit me. I actually double majored in animal science and social work, and I ended up working in real estate when I finished college. And one common thread occurred was my mental health. My mental health struggled all throughout college, also struggled even when I made good money doing real estate, and I thought I had every box check possible. You think you have it all on the outside, and you can still not have it together mentally. And that's kind of what I experienced during that time. And I said, well, why can't there be a sacred escape for people where they can not necessarily escape their problems, but for them to actually face their problems in a different way? So I said, why not create a retreat where we do actionable things and not just talk around a table kumbaya? I want to go deeper than that. And so that's when I came up with the whole concept of Project Passport, my company. And pandemic hit within a little over a year of me launching. A lot changed, but here we are now.
Wow. So had you gone on a retreat for this to spark into your mind, or it just came out of nowhere?
Honestly, I have never been on I have been on retreats. In college, I went on a small one, but I've never really thought about retreats since then. It was not something that crossed my mind, but for me, I just felt like the sacred space where people can experiment with their mental health and well-being. It was a retreat in itself. So we actually had one planned to Kenya, but pandemic hit. So I actually would be in Kenya right now as we speak.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you're making it work. So you're in college, you're getting straight A's, you're kicking butt and everything, you're killing life, and you're feeling a void, or what's going on mentally? You just not knowing who you are deep inside?
I think it was a little bit of everything. I was this person that my grades reflected my worth. So if I had that 4.0, then I had value to the world. If I had it all together, had the partner, the fiance, the home, and all those things, then I was somebody worth caring about or looking at or being involved with my life. And so I think that my worth became very external to me and it wasn't internal, which that's what I had to, I had to really work through that myself. That took a lot of work, that took counseling. And I realized that, we're oftentimes kind of forced to go through life as passengers. And I found it very frustrating. We're the passengers to our own journeys. And it's like nobody tells anybody how to get out of it. We just kind of get stuck in these zombie spaces. And my life was being lived for me. I wasn't living it. That's what it felt like throughout my college and when I graduated. So I knew that I wanted to change that. And when I was able to, I said, well, how can I help other people do the same?
I'm so impressed by that because honestly, I see women in my office all day long in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they're just starting to understand that and get that. Like, hey, what about me? I haven't been living my life for me or for what gives me joy. I think we're raised and bred to take care of others and put everyone else first, right? And to be presentable and, like you said, check all the boxes off. So I think it's really amazing that you left all that behind and were courageous enough to just jump off the ship, right? Into the...
Yeah, because I had a good career. I was making great money. I ended up leaving real estate, going to higher ed. I thought that the money thing and getting out of college and having a career would fix that emptiness that I was feeling. But I realized that as people, we're not looking for that big check like we think we are. Many of us do really think that. I know it's hard if you're in survival mode. It's very hard, and I get it because I've been there. We've all been there, right? But I think that It's so much. If we could really get in touch with our purpose, get in touch with who we are and who we're created to be on this earth, money would not be it would not have as much precedence as our society gives it. And I think that that's the big issue that many people are facing. And believe it or not, I thought my clients were going to be more like 25, 26, 27. But believe it or not, many of my clients are in their 30s and 40s and 50s in that space trying to figure out what's next. So it goes to show that it doesn't really matter. Age doesn't determine when you find your purpose and who you are and your worth and all that. That's something that's an ongoing process for every person that I work with.
Yeah, you are right on. That is what drew me to you when I first heard you talking about that, because, my life is pain to purpose. Like, I struggled, I went through all the hurdles, and I figured out my purpose in life, and that direction and just that solidarity and hope, like, it hasn't wavered, and it's just kept me going and got me through, right? Like, when I feel like giving up, I just think, wait a minute, why am I doing this? You get back to your why. Like, that is where it all comes down. And I just think it's so important for women to realize, if you can't reclaim your health, you can't get control of your stress, you can't seem to find happiness with anything, you can't have a healthy relationship, it's probably because you're not living your authentic life and being who you really are, right?
Exactly. And many people don't realize that the core of health issues, the core of, the external stress that we feel in our bodies, the tensions, come oftentimes from the inner work that we're failing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are not willing to invest in themselves, when little do they realize that that will give you the most dividends out of any investment you ever make if you invest in yourself. And that may not just be a retreat. It may mean you have a nutritionist, a life coach, a retreat specialist to help you. It's such an integrated process, well-being. And I think people love to silo it. I got to go to my counselor because I'm having this mental health problem. Okay, that's great. But then what about, when it comes to the present and your goals? Counselors really help you with your past. They're more so from your past to your present, whereas a coach would be someone to help you from your present to your future. So understanding health and mental well-being as something that's multiple puzzle pieces to a greater equation, rather than thinking of it as something that's siloed. And even the work I do, I actually refer my clients to other wellness professionals, which many wellness professionals, they may not think about that, but I know somebody may need a nutritionist after me, or a marriage counselor, or a life coach. And yes, the retreat was great, but I want them to continue that wellness journey.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so important to have like a team, right, that you can rely on. I think that's where conventional medicine has failed in so many aspects, is everybody's working in a silo. And you need to have a team of people who are cheering you on, right? Like, I know I do. That's just how it works. And, I was just, when you were talking and making those amazing points, like, I was thinking about something Michael Burnoff said recently. He's like this communication guru, and he's like, you don't fix your finances, relationships, and health by working on those. You fix them by working on your self-worth and your confidence and your communication skills, right? I mean, it's so true that we are focused on the wrong thing, getting the wrong results.
Yes. You're literally preaching to the choir. It's crazy because some people, a lot of times I see people complaining about the money problem, but it's not the money problem, it's the purpose problem.
Mm-hmm.
But they think it's the money problem, then they get the money, and then they still are frustrated. Because I know I've been there. You know what I mean? So
yes.
It's just so interesting that as people, we will continue to chase the same thing, think something different will happen, but it doesn't change. And then we have to be willing to go outside of our comfort zones. And that's why these retreats I create allow that. My retreats are saying, hey, you're going to try this activity right now live. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you do, this is something you can continue to use. And the ones you don't like, give to other people who can use them. That's where I come from. I'm really applied and solution based in the activities and the wellness that I want to bring to the world, because I think, many people get lost in the fluffiness of, let me just do this yoga pose. That's great. But do you understand why that yoga pose is important? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know why you're doing these things? Are you intentional about your wellness process?
Yeah, exactly. Tell me some breakthroughs that you've seen.
Yeah. I had a retreat for purpose. I did that one a couple weeks ago, and that was probably the best retreat I'd ever led virtually. And the reason why is because what I did was I literally had an activity where everybody took out some pieces of paper, and on the paper they wrote the possible life they could be living, so the possible reality they could live, the one they live right now, and the one they had in the past, and just any realities that they could have lived. So I thought about all the planes of life you could be in. So maybe you're married with 3 kids in the house and working this job. Maybe you're doing this, working this career in your condo in New York. So they kind of mapped out all those things. Then I literally asked them a series of questions. Which one scared you the most? Which one are you most excited about? Which one seems the most difficult? Things like that. And I had them check behind on each one what they held up. So at the end, I was like, well, which one were you the most afraid of? And which one was the most exciting? And for many people, it was the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, we do things like that. And these people are looking like, what is, wow, like, this is it. This is why I want to do this thing. Even though it scares me, it's one of the hardest things to do. It's something I'm most excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had a woman, she said, wow, I literally have chills after this retreat because now, I had just gotten a promotion at my job and I was having a hard time connecting purpose to this promotion. And now I see where it all comes together, and her values. We deal with values and what do you value and how is it tied to purpose? All of that.
Oh my gosh.
It's so much fun. So much fun.
That is so beautiful. I love it. So do you have faith based around these retreat journeys? I noticed on your website, you talk about your faith, and is that something that kind of helped you create all of this internally and then release it to the world?
You did your research on me. I love it. It's interesting because the foundation of my business is biblical. Many times people think they're coming up with some new principles. They think they're coming up with, the theory of what you put out in the world is what you bring. The Bible says all that. It says all those things, all that stuff that we think is new and new breakthrough discoveries are not. There's nothing new under the sun, right? And, it's so funny because I have those principles, but we're not really as outright. Our retreats, I want to make sure that people don't get, afraid or scared away. So I have that as my foundation. So a lot of the work that we do ties into things that I know true from the Bible, but it's not going to be outwardly said per se. But that doesn't mean that we don't talk about religion on the retreat, because sometimes religion is a key thing that's going to be a part of that person's driving principle. Mm-hmm. So I will share my stories with God and the breakthroughs that I've had if it's relevant to that retreat topic and to what we're talking about. Because honestly, my journey would not exist without God's grace throughout this process. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend. There have been moments where I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay this. And a check came in that balanced out. And I'm like, I know this isn't the world, it's the Lord, okay?
Yeah.
So it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah. And I think so many people feel uncomfortable acknowledging that and saying, you know what, I do rely on my faith, and that is what's getting me through. And I want women to feel comfortable saying that out loud and claiming that as their truth, right? Whatever your faith is, I don't care, but believe in something higher than you, because otherwise there is no purpose, as far as I can understand.
Yes, and one of the things I tell people is you can't always carry the baton. That's the big thing I tell people now. You have to pass your higher power that baton at some points, because some things you just truly can't control. So times that I'm praying for a business deal or praying for something to work out, I pray for God to touch the hearts of those people that I'm going to serve and the people that I'm going to work with. It's not necessarily something I can control. I can't control their decisions. So, but to have faith in man is very dangerous sometimes, especially in business. You have to have faith in that greater power to impact and touch the hearts of man. And that's what I tell people. It's not always about God, here's a magic wand, make this happen. It's just, look, don't carry that weight on you. But pass that weight and that baton to your higher power.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's wonderful. So tell me some misconceptions that people have around the word retreat and life coach, and what kind of, things do you tell them to make them understand, how you can help them?
Yeah, so people think retreat. They think it's just this fluffy word, because nowadays everything's a retreat to everybody, right? So for me, people might think it's this overly hippie kumbaya thing, which is nothing wrong with that, absolutely not. But I have a little bit of those principles where we get, we might do a little meditation, a little bit of chants about certain things, but it's not really that way. For my retreats, I think of a retreat as a way to not escape your problems, but to face your problems. Because people think retreat, you're going to get away from your problems. So I'm like, no, we're not here to do that. We want to talk about what's going on, but now we're going to help you organize and understand what are actionable things you can do to address them. So if you come on a stress retreat with us, I want you to understand that this retreat will give you tangible tools to utilize when you're feeling either a nervous breakdown coming on, or if you're kind of feeling that general stress where everything's kind of and you don't really know where to go. That is what, I do. So I think of when I explain to people our retreats, I explain to them that they're hands-on, they're live, they're interactive, and we even do follow-ups after the fact to make sure that they're really retaining and utilizing what they've learned. But people, retreats, yes, people think of the whole fluffy stuff and they think it's just a vacation and all that, and that's great. But if you're going on a retreat and you're coming back with doing the same thing with the same problems, then you didn't really go on the right type of retreat, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. You want to come away with new tools that are empowering to you so you can go and make some changes, right? Because I guarantee every one of us needs to get outside of our comfort zone and make some changes and take it to the next level, I think a lot of us are stagnant and we're living in our comfortable, miserable situations.
Exactly. And I tell people, if you leave this retreat doing the same thing, then something went terribly wrong here. Something, even if it was small, it needs to change. You can't keep going the same route because clearly it wasn't working. And if you're here, clearly something needs to be improved, and even with life coaching, there's a lot of people that call themselves life coaches, but that's great. And I don't even really say life coach for myself. I more so go life discovery expert because I want people to know that I'm helping you do the work for you. You know what I mean? I'm not here to come in and fix your life. I'm not a Yanla fix your life. I can't come in and just tell you, well, boom, this is it. It's you're going to go in the process. And I want you to be the best version of you and not to be like me. Many people want to be like that person that's coaching them. No, I don't want you to have my life. I want you to have your life in the best version that it can be.
Yeah.
So just really pushing that accountability on them.
Exactly. They need to be accountable and take ownership of what they're going to do, right? I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So would you say all women should do these retreats?
Well, of course I say all women, but I think that, a retreat you have to be in a place where you're willing to do the work first, because there are people who come and that they basically wasted their time and money because they came, sat there for a little bit, took in things, and it went out the other ear. You know what I mean? So
right.
If you're in a space where you are ready and you know that you are willing to take the actionable steps to invest in yourself and do the work behind it, then yes, I think any woman who's in that space to do it should go. But if you're not there yet, then you're going to have to wait till you get tired. I tell people, just wait till you get tired. Oh, you're going to get tired. You're get real old. Oh, you're going to get so sick of it. Mm-hmm. So when you get there, then call me.
Yeah.
Because I can't help you if you're not ready to help you.
Yeah. Oh, I see that all the time in, the health space. Like some women just aren't ready to do the work. And I get it. Like you have to be in that certain mindset. You have to be tired enough. You have to be done.
Yeah, my rock bottom, baby. I already been there, done that. I tell people you can't kill me anymore at this point. I've been there, done that. The depression, the anxiety, it's been there. You know what I mean? I've gone through all those phases. So at this point, they have to hit their rock bottom. And I mean, I prefer to get you before things get bad. That's the work that I do. I want to get you before it gets too bad so we can get you, in that good space and direction. But if it takes rock bottom, then it takes rock bottom. But that's what I tell people,
Yeah. So what would you say has really changed you by doing this and leading these retreats? Because I'm sure it must fill your cup up and just make you feel so good and keep wanting to do it, right?
Yeah, gosh, I've never had someone ask me that, thinking about me, I guess I'm always worried about somebody else's stuff. It's really caused me to realize that, I may not be, a mental health professional or a doctor in that conventional way, but I am saving lives more than I realize. Our company, the work we're doing is saving people in a way that I didn't expect. To have women come to me saying, oh my gosh, I felt so confused or I felt so overwhelmed and I'm using this technique. Thank you so much. When I serve companies and having teams come back and say, wow, we feel good, we feel more connected. I just didn't know how much power was behind my voice. And it's not to brag, it's just to know that I've been blessed with the ability to to bring something beautiful to the earth to help create that's going to be good for other people, it's really told me that, wow, maybe, maybe I am something. Maybe I do have something to bring. And for a long time, I always thought of myself trying not to get in the way of others. I didn't want to take up too much space.
Mm.
And for the first time, I'm proud of myself for being willing to take up space and being proud of it.
That is the most important thing right there. I mean, that is what your clients need to be able to say, right? Because that's life changing. We're all meant to have some impact on other people, and to be able to figure that out and manifest it, that's amazing. And then to be able to verbalize it and be proud of yourself. Like, I think that's where so many women stop short, is like they'll do the amazing thing and they'll be like, oh, that was no big deal, right? And we need to like give ourselves a pat on the back, because the stuff we're doing is really hard, and you've gone through hell and back, and now you're making so many women like go through that themselves and coming out on the other side, and that's so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. We're just getting started. This world is just opened up for us. I was so focused on these in-person retreats in this specific way, and just learning to go into things with an open heart and not being so bent on having things one way. I've been able to impact people in places like Malta and Canada and all over the US, and people from London on retreats, just knowing that I can have a greater reach in a more positive way than I expected. It means so much. And, I'm just so grateful for the journey and for people trusting us to help them on the journey, to give your hand to me and allow me to grab your hand, to trust that I'm not going to let you fall. It says a lot, and it means I don't take that lightly.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you just like pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and switched this whole situation from in person to virtual and kept on going, like that says so much about your character and what people are going to get from you, because that's pretty awesome. I mean, so many people would let that bog them down and they'd be like, wow, well, there goes that idea. I guess it's all over. But like I always say, when you make plans, God just laughs, like,
love that one, yeah.
Here you go, try something else. And you just have to go with it, right? And make the best of it. And sometimes it's better than what you had planned because it's bigger than you. So
it is. And you are preaching away, because that's exactly what it's been for us. This has been so much greater than I could ever imagine. And I mean, we're just getting started. I mean, it's insane, but it's the truth. We are reaching more people than we ever have before, and being able to do much more great work in the world.
That is so awesome. Well, good. So any women, any age, any situation, they're just trying to figure themselves out, right? Or refine their joy or whatever. I think they should check out your retreat. And you have a free one coming up on the 8th, right?
Yes. So women 18 to 80, I say. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you are in that space and you're ready to make that positive transformation, stress management, becoming more productive, being able to understand your values, self-esteem, all that type of work we do across the board, because that's all part of mental well-being. People, like I said, they separate it and think this is mental illness is well-being and this and that. No, it's all part of well-being. So that is what we do. And yes, we do have a big event. It's the most dynamic and comprehensive mental health event I think that's been done virtually. I mean, we're even mailing out kits, physical kits. Some virtual we'll send out, but people are going to actually have kits to support the event, because it's going to be a scavenger hunt as well as a mental health experience where people are going to go into different rooms virtually and do different wellness activities, from meditation to Reiki activities to we're going to have a shaman healer. There's so many things that are going to be there for people so they can learn about the different mental health and wellness modalities that are available to them. It's called Around the World of Mental Health.
That is beyond cool. I'm excited. I'm totally signing up. So I will have the link in my show notes, because I think everybody needs to do this. It sounds so cool.
Absolutely.
Rather than escaping your problems, let's just deal with them head on and, find your greater purpose. I think that's so cool.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, is there anything else you want to share with my listeners before we go?
Well, I always share my favorite quote with people, because it's in my email, it's everything. And I always tell people this, people say, but what if I fall? And I say, but darling, what if you fly? because, you know, if I would have stayed on the ground on this process when everything happened, I mean, everything we planned got canceled. Everything, every event we had, I mean, we had some awesome stuff lined up, was all canceled. But I decided to still find my wings. The wings were on the floor, but I picked them off the floor. I shoved them back in my back. It sounds gory, but I did. And now we're flying, and we're flying in a way that we could never imagine. So just understand that, you know, you will fly if you give yourself the chance to.
Yeah, and you are leading by example. So I think there's nobody better to follow than you. So that is awesome. Where else can we follow you, Sabriya?
Yes. So, of course, project-passport.com is the best place to get all the updates about us. But you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Project Passport LLC.
Awesome. Okay, I will have all those links in my show notes. This is so cool. Thank you so much for connecting with me. This has been great.
Thank you, Dr. Tabatha. Thank you so much. I've had a great time here.
I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Talk soon. Bye.
Well, isn't Sabriya fabulous? I told you she has great energy. I just love all of her positivity, her creativity, her drive. Like, it's just awesome to interact with people like that. So I think you would get so much out of her retreats if you participated. So like I said, click the link in my show notes. It's a free retreat on August 8th. I really think you should try it out. And in the meantime, if you would even consider hitting the subscribe button to this podcast, I would appreciate it so much. And share it with your friends, your mom, your sisters, your colleagues, anyone who you think would benefit from this information. I do this for you. I want to get this message out there that we need to reclaim our health, reclaim our spirit, reclaim our mind, body, and soul, right? We need to do the work and live our true, authentic life because we deserve it. And we're the only ones who can make it happen, honestly. We can't wait for other people to give us what we want or change our situation. We need to do it for ourselves. So I hope you take one little nugget from today, incorporate it with all of the other episodes that you've been listening to so that you're on your way to being your best self. So shoot me your questions on Facebook and Instagram at Dr. Tabatha, DrTabatha, and let me know what you want to hear about. Ask questions. I'll answer them for you. I am here to serve you. I want to be your functional gynecologist. So go out and have a kick-ass week, ladies. Bye.